I wanted to dedicate this video to Renee at Coakley, and I really hope she sees this video. Her video came on right when I was getting ready to leave the house today, and she is in the same place that I'm in. She's in a career pivot. I've been an RN for 20 years. Didn't even realize I put 20 years of blood, sweat, and tears into nursing only for a system or industry to not repay me in the end. I encountered wage caps. At year 10, they just leveled out and continued to pay me at mid-grad level. I've encountered injuries. In the beginning of my career, I hurt my sciatica. It resolved towards, I guess, the 16th year. I hurt my back turning a patient, and then a month later I hurt my shoulder. I ended up having to get a spinal fusion, and I tore my meniscus carrying heavy charts. I always tell people that 20% of my career was bad and 80% of it was good. But at 55 years old, I'm dedicating this video to her because she got on there and she spoke from the heart. She says she has 2 weeks left on her job and she doesn't have a plan. And it resonated with me because almost 7 months ago, I quit yet like maybe the 8th toxic job that I ended up on. And I know a lot of people may say, well, you got to go to work, you got to pay bills, you don't need to be quitting your job. When you are in a toxic job and you are a licensed professional or just anybody, because your sanity and your peace should always come first. But for me as a nurse, I can't just do things that are against, the rules and regulation of nurses. I can't sweep things that are not right to patients under the rugs. I can't work in an environment where normal day-to-day nursing issues come up and nobody wants to have a nursing meeting. I can't work behind nurses that don't show up on time or that try to bully you. Those are just some of the things I encounter. Besides dysfunctional facilities where you have no oversight, no director, no supervisor. So at 55 years old, I'm in a career pivot like her. And I'm grateful that I am a nurse. I do believe that it's still something that I can try to get employment from. But something is happening between me and Renee. She said something. And I got a job before I left my toxic job because my grandmother taught me always get a job before you leave a job. Got hired as an every other weekend supervisor in skilled nursing, have the experience. They never called me for orientation. Got another job at a psych hospital. We got down to the pay. I asked them, what is your baseline? They said, oh, Audra, by the way, DON is not here today. She'll be back Monday. We'll call you. Never called me. I've tried to go on assignments. Facilities have been broken. Nobody knows where anything is. There's no director, no supervisor. The NARC count is off. Basically, just employees are running it. And that's not good in the healthcare. I've tried to pick up on my PRN jobs because I had a couple of them. I faced recruiter retaliation, because I needed to write nursing notes and it took me a little over the school nurse time at the end of the day. And at the end of the week, they didn't want to sign my time slip. So I say all this to say, on this career pivot for me, I started building things for myself. I started working my YouTube channel vigorously. It did progress. When I went to YouTube, I went there, number one, because I always like YouTube videos. I like the fact that you can make a video, and I like resonating with people that I don't know and making new connections. I did that basically because we're in a digital asset world. And I said, well, let me try it. I'll treat it as a hobby. If it pops, it pops. If it doesn't, it doesn't. I'm still going to go out and try to be a nurse. But I built 2 other things for myself. And when I tell you, trying to enter into the legal nurse consultant lane, there's a lot of gateways to it. And I had a lot of roadblocks there. And then I have to actually get some law offices to open the door for me to let me read charts, to potentially be the expert witness, just to gain hours so that I can then go back, take the class, and get 2,000 hours to become a certified legal nurse consultant. And I don't know if that's going to pop, but I do have a friend of mine that's a paralegal. She is working in my favor. But Renee and I are in a career pivot. She's about to leave her job. I've already left my job. We're working on other things, but something is happening with me. Every time I go to get a job that we know I'm qualified for, you know what I'm saying? Um, it's like God thrusts me back into the house to continue to work on things that I built for myself. I have other things that I'm working on. One of them is almost finished, and he keeps saying, finish it. He just keeps telling me to get back on the computer and finish it. Get back on the computer and finish it. And she went to, Renee went to her YouTube, for the same reason. She was like, why don't I just get on here and talk about myself and everything that's going on? Because she felt like, she gave her all. She checked all the dots, and we did. You know what I'm saying? I graduated from high school. I went to college. I've even gotten married. I took care of my kids. The marriages didn't work out. I try to be nice to people. I followed the rules like my father told me to. Unfortunately, on my jobs, I become a target for following the rules because we're living in a world where right is wrong, or perceived as wrong, and wrong is perceived as right. So that's a huge obstacle for me being a registered nurse. But we checked all these boxes, we did all these things, we showed up for all these shifts, and then we got kickback. And I'm not going to even get into robots replacing anybody's jobs, because I think we all know how we feel about that. But something happened the other day with, one of my assets, and they told me to sign up for something, some type of account. I signed up for it. I don't know what I'm doing. I'm just trying. But when I tell you, God keeps sending me back. I've been living off my savings. I did do maybe 5 or 6 weeks of PRN nursing, some at the school. I did some at a drug and rehab, but nothing really consistent because I haven't been able to nail down a consistent job, and I just don't know where this road is going to end. What I do know, and I say this all the time, I don't know where I'm going. I don't know what God is doing, but I know I'm built for it. You understand me? And 2 weeks ago, I contemplated signing my lease. I didn't really want to sign it because I told my son, if I don't really get a job that's consistent, why sign the lease? I might as well just go sleep in my Mercedes, which is not what I want to do, but lo and behold, I end up getting this home care job in pediatric home care. And it's not a lot of shifts. I was only able to pick up 24 hours a week, but it came like 2 weeks before the lease signing. So God sat in my gut. He said, sign that lease. I got you. Now, I can't see the full picture. I know the work I have in front of me to continue building things for myself, things that Audra wants to do. And being at home, checking business emails, doing business, attorney outreach for legal nurse consultant, you know what I'm saying? Focusing on the other asset that I'm working on, and working on digital assets. When I tell you, it brings me so much peace. It brings me comfort. I set my own schedule. I'm not on anybody else's schedule. I'm not making money off of it right now, but they all have the potential to make money. So I think with me and Renee, I think we need to sit in this time, this season, whatever God is doing to us. We've paid our dues out there in the work world, punch the clock world. I think we need to continue to get on here, show up, you know, show our real true selves, and see where this journey can take us. Because if what Audra has planned comes to fruition, let me tell you something. You're going to see nursing in a whole nother light. So I just wanted to get on here and dedicate that video to her. She was crying, and trust me, I done been in a fetal position a couple of times. I was like, God, no. I said, please, I said, God, if I'm going to go through this, please take the stress away. You know what I mean? I want to be happy on whatever journey. Please take this knot out of my chest. Please don't let me be in anxiety. That's not my normal mode of operating. Normally, if I encounter a problem, I sit down, I figure out how I'm going to, solve it, or I accept whatever came to me and I keep going. This is different. This is the first career pivot for me. And I didn't want to thrust right back into school. I'm willing to add on some credentials to my RN. You know what I'm saying? I'm very, very interested in being a forensic nurse. I always have been, and I would like to do adults and peds. I definitely want to, get this legal nurse consulting off the ground, and I hope that I can do that. I love corrections, and a lot of law firms, they struggle to get LNCs that can read those charts, but I just, I don't, this is not the same as go get a job, punch a clock, get the check at the end of the week. So when you can't foresee the end, whether it's going to be a light at the tunnel or what, you know what I mean? Sometimes I feel like Tom Hanks on Castaway, like, no, help. So anyway, this video is dedicated to Renee at Coakley. And I hope wherever you're going, I hope your channel blows up. I'm definitely going to be a subscriber. Kudos to you for standing up for yourself. You know what I mean? And I hope you have a great journey and you're blessed in any and every plan or goal that you try to execute. Have a good day, you guys. Goodbye. Bye-bye.